Demonstrations continue in Bangladesh. In the latest, an army vehicle was set on fire by a mob after clashes broke out between the army personnel and supporters of the Awami League, demanding Hasina's return. To talk on that and all that is happening in Bangladesh right now, we are now being joined by Ambassador Humayun Kabir. He is joining us live from Dhaka. He is the ex-Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh. Welcome to WION, Ambassador Kabir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Ambassador, joining us live from Dhaka, get us up to speed with what exactly is happening on ground right now in Bangladesh, because there are demonstrations still going on in the country, while some are demanding Hasina's comeback. On the other hand, there are also growing demonstrations against Hindu minorities in Bangladesh.
Okay, thank you very much. Just on the demonstration that you have mentioned, there are 64 districts in Bangladesh. And Gopalganj, from where Sheikh Hasina comes, that is one of them. And yesterday, some people demonstrated on the public highways, and the military arrived, and there was a clash, and they burned down one military vehicle. So that was absolutely a localized, and since Sheikh Hasina's family comes from that area, the affiliation, or you can say affection, of the local people is an obvious thing. So that happened, but I can assure you that is absolutely localized, and there has been no other reports of such incidents across Bangladesh. Second point that you have mentioned, yes, we have been having difficulty for the last few days because the law enforcement agency, particularly the police, the whole police system was so much of it was corrupted so much during the last decade and a half that police didn't have the courage to face the people or come back to their work, because during the last 2-3 weeks, they had to face the people. They killed a lot of people, and according to estimates that we saw, latest one, in last 23 days before the change of the government, 700 people were killed. Of course, within that 700, almost 100 were policemen, because the people also retaliated against the police. So we have to understand that we now, the current situation is a consequence of this evolution. And obviously, the Awami League party activists came under severe pressure. And many of them, I would say, or some of them, belong to the minority communities, majority communities. So since the reaction is coming on the political front, some of the minority communities also got affected, and that was fully recognized by the various stakeholders in the country. And particularly, I would say, the day the military, when Sheikh Hasina left the country, on the very day, the army chief has called for peace and protecting the lives and interest and properties of the minority communities. Then when the new government was formed, the Professor Yunus, before taking over and after forming the government, he called upon repeatedly for peace. The student leaders are calling on that. Right. And the one good thing that has happened is the students themselves formed squads throughout the country to protect the minority communities. And I can tell through you to your esteemed audience that even the madrasa students are now protecting temples and other religious establishments. So there is a huge mobilization in the country against what we have seen. The violence is not only against minorities. There are violences also against the majority community, because most of the violence is politically linked. Now, the second point that I should say in this context is that there is some misinformation also circulating on the social media. A large misinformation campaign is going on, and that is, I would say, that is adding to the volatility. But again, right. I should say that the government is cognizant of that, right. Those who are doing it, I would only urge them to be a little cautious about that, because flaming this kind of hatred, communal hatred, and inflaming the communal relationship, that will not only affect Bangladesh, but that can also affect our neighbors. So I think that's very important to notice.
Right, Ambassador Kabir, you do speak of how the police did not take action earlier, and this is an outcome of what has been happening for the past few weeks in Bangladesh. But I want to bring your attention to the fact that a lot of police officials and security officials in Bangladesh, they refuse to come out and work because they themselves are not feeling safe in Bangladesh. What do you have to say on that?
Oh, well, they were involved. I mean, it was as I said, last few weeks, it was a mayhem, carnage. And it's not me. I mean, the New York Times has termed this word that it was a carnage. 700 people killed by police actions. 300, 400, we know the list and we know that. And unfortunately, as a reaction from the people, almost 100 police people also died. So obviously there was a fear on both sides, and that's why I think bulk of the police officers decided, or police personnel, they decided to stay away. But good news is that by yesterday, the calculation is that by yesterday, almost 70% police stations have started functioning. Some of the police stations have been completely burned, so they have to start afresh, and they have started working.
Right.
And the police is being supported in each thana, each police station, by the army and paramilitary forces, and the student representatives are also present there just to give them the confidence and assurance that yes, you can
Correct.
now do your duty.
Right. I also want to see your assessment of the claims made by Hasina's son, who says that that his mother, Sheikh Hasina, did not resign from her position before fleeing the country. Do you sense that Hasina will come back to Bangladesh anytime soon?
Well, this is his opinion, but the things are very different here. It's easy to say something from outside, but the ground reality has shifted a lot. And, we must also understand the context in which she was compelled to leave. It was a massacre going on, and the reaction from the people was so strong that even the army couldn't protect her. And the army told her that rather you leave, otherwise we cannot ensure your security. So the ground reality, I think, has shifted. Whether she comes or not, I don't have any comment on that. That's her choice.
Do you think that there was any foreign interference in the toppling of Hasina's government in Bangladesh, or was it purely because of internal factors?
It was internal. I'll mention you two things. The movement actually started as a quota movement.
Correct.
The students' desire to get a merit-based recruitment, absolutely non-political. So they had nothing to do with that. And obviously, no foreign government would be interested in this kind of issue. Eventually, what happened is government mishandled this on several, I would say, layers or stages. And that really galvanized the student body, the entire community, and then the guardians. Their guardians got involved, then the whole community involved. And when the killing was going on, the common people also felt that it was too much, and they joined, and eventually it turned into a mass uprising. So that is how it developed. And as far as I'm concerned, or as far as whatever I have seen, I don't have any evidence to say that I've seen any foreign involvements so far. I mean, except the congratulatory messages that are coming from the foreign leaders to Professor Mohammad Yunus after the formation of the government. But other than that, I have not seen any foreign involvement.
Right, well, last question to Ambassador Kabir. How do you assess Bangladesh's relationship or perhaps ties with India after Hasina's exit? Is it, in your opinion, at a point of concern? Because Dr. Yunus has appointed an Islamic speaker, Dr. Hussain, in the interim government, who in the past has spearheaded anti-India sentiments in Bangladesh.
Well, I can tell you the relationship between the states, but I would say particularly between Bangladesh and India, because of very historical reason, we always have to maintain relationship between our two countries at two layers or two levels. One is the government-to-government relationship, and also at a people-to-people level relationship. This is what I have learned during 1971, during our War of Liberation. So I am always grateful to our great people from India who stood by us, gave us all support. The Indian government gave us all support. So What is important here is to understand that government-to-government support, government-to-government relationship is okay. It works at one level. But people-to-people relationship is also important. And I believe that if today India understands what is happening in Bangladesh and appreciates it, and they help us, the people of Bangladesh,
Right.
to overcome this bump, then I think Bangladesh-India relationship will have a normal course. And we have to acknowledge the fact that we are interdependent on each other. We are the closest neighbors. We have so much of relationship at various levels. So my personal sense is that if India really understands what is happening here and then appreciates, give a helping hand, then Indo-Bangladesh relationship will always move ahead, regardless of what the fringe people or fringe elements might say here and there.
Right. Right. Thank you so much, Ambassador Kabir, for taking out time and joining us here on Beyond with your insights.
Thank you very much.